feel like this is really just fitting your skill set nicely. And by the time we're done, you might just be a regular on a cooking show.
Might actually have some decent hands on the ice too, yeah.
Well, now you like to use them for fighting.
Here and there, yeah. When it happens, it happens.
I know that you're not supposed to look for fights. I totally would. Groovy and I had this conversation. I missed my calling as a hockey player, and I totally would have been a defenseman. Absolutely.
Oh, do you have a bit of a temper?
You could say that. You could say that. And my temper did not go over well while being a basketball player in high school. They frown on that sort of thing.
Yeah, I had that problem too. Fouling out a lot, yeah.
So how many sports did you play? Also, now I feel like I'm understood and I'm seen, Jamie.
I hate to see you in road rage or anything.
No, it does not extend to that. It is only in ultra-competitive sports that I get that way.
Good,
I do know how to channel it. How many different sports did you play?
A couple, not many. I mean, honestly, I played a little bit of rugby, basketball. That was it for the most part. And the hockey eventually just takes over, you know, when you're at a young age in Toronto. It just, there's so many different leagues and different, you know, summer tournaments and travel hockey and whatnot. So I'd say most of it was just hockey. But I did do a little rugby. Rugby and hockey were my two sports I played the most, I'd probably say.
I could see some crossover in that skill set.
A little bit, yeah.
And what was the age that you knew that hockey was going to be it?
I mean, it's hard to say. Honestly, I didn't think until I started playing in the NHL regularly that I was like, oh, I could do this for a living. You know, it's a long way to get there, and they always say it's hard to get there, it's harder to stay there. So I think, you know, it's still kind of a dream come true for me, right? Yeah.
I think you've done a pretty good job.
So far, so good, yeah.
You've done a good job. Okay, we talk about competition and how that shows up. At what point did you know your sister could probably outrace you or maybe out-athlete you? Can she out-athlete you?
I've been trying to get her in the pool. I've been saying we should race, but she keeps backing out. So I don't know what that's all about. I mean, she definitely would smoke me any day. But
so she doesn't want to race. Your sister, we should tell people, is an Olympic athlete.
She is an Olympic athlete, yeah. She's the best athlete in our family, yeah.
She is also the most decorated Canadian Olympic athlete. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think so. Canadian Olympic athlete, yeah.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal. And so she won't race you in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I put a bunch of, you know, advantages in my favor. You know, I say that I got to have a head start at least, like, you know, at least a quarter of a pool length and whatnot, and she's not okay with that.
Now, see, I was thinking she was being so kind to her big brother and just didn't want you to have that experience of second guessing yourself, maybe, or like have, you know, the embarrassment.
No. Just an ego play by me, yeah. I can't have her beat me.
The cheating that's going to happen. Because then if you start at the same spot, I can see you like trying to grab her leg and like trying to push her underwater, you know.
Of course, what else are older brothers for, right?
That's true. When did you know she was an awesome athlete?
You know what? It wasn't, because there's a pretty big separation between us in terms of age. So I was well out of the house, you know, while she began swimming, and I think it wasn't until my parents called me and they were like, "Yeah, she's going to Rio to compete in the Olympics," that I was like, "Oh wow, okay, she's really good." Like I would talk to my mom, and she just kind of like gave me very basic feedback in terms of her swimming and just saying, "Yeah, she's really enjoying it." So I just figured it was a fun pastime for her, you know. And then my mom was like, "Oh no, she's going to she qualified for the Olympics. She's going to Rio," and I was like, "Oh, okay, wow, yeah, pretty impressive." She was 16 at the time, you know. I don't think many people expect that, but happy for her. She did pretty well for herself, that's for sure.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Has she ever gotten on skates?
No. I don't think she's ever skated. I mean, not for a long time. Might have to see that though.
There was no chance.
That'd be good TV.
As long as she's not still competing in the Olympics. What we don't want to do is hurt her chances at further competition.
No, she's definitely better when the ice is melted.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, right?
Is there, and this is going to be silly, but I never played a sport where you were expected to lose teeth. Is there like a point in your like childhood or career where you're like, you know it's going to happen? Like, I know that this is going to happen and I've accepted it when it happens?
I actually went a long time without like losing my teeth, and I kind of figured, I'm so tall, what are the chances that a stick or fist or shoulder or whatever is going to hit me in the mouth and knock a tooth out? And sure enough, it was kind of a gradual process. I think I took a puck the first time, and then it loosened my teeth, and I put crowns on, and then I got hit with a stick, and at one point it was holding on for dear life, and at one point it just had enough and gave away. So I mean, it was well into my career, though. I want to say it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So.
And do you remember that final, like who delivered the final hit or the final blow?
Yeah, it was in playoffs actually, when we were in the bubble with Dallas, and I think I got a shoulder in the mouth, and I had a crown on, and it was already kind of loose, and it was in the bubble, so I couldn't actually go to a dentist's office. They took me into one of the refs rooms, and they had like a dental chair set up in the shower. So I was kind of just sitting in this dental chair in a shower while they're, pulling my tooth out basically, and just the sounds and kind of echoing off. Yeah, I know we're about to eat. Probably not a good thing to bring up. But just to be in a confined space like that, and it wasn't an enjoyable process, that's for sure.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Is there, though, now that it's over, now that we're through that part, is there any sense of pride in having lost your teeth? Or the fact that it's your front teeth and it does make you look more intimidating?
Sense of pride, I think maybe at first, yeah. I think at the same time, though, I can't wait to be able to put like a permanent tooth in, because it's just, like I said, I think it catches people off guard a little bit, and
well, if they don't know what you do for a living.
Nice to be whole, Yeah, exactly.
If they know what you do for a living. Then.
Yeah. Gives it away.
Okay, that's going to broil for 15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Here's what I'm going to do. Because I did do a little TV magic earlier and get some veggies going, so we're going to do that. You mentioned some days you still don't recognize, acknowledge, believe that you're an NHLer, that you're here to stay, right? What was the hardest part of minor league hockey, and maybe even the growing up in Canada, where hockey is just what everybody does? So I would imagine there's some expectations that are there.
Growing up, I wouldn't say that there's many expectations. I mean, you just dream of playing in the NHL, and I think the neighborhood I grew up at, there was like an outdoor rink at the bottom of the street, and I was actually telling this the other day how fortunate I was, because I lived in an area called the Beaches in Toronto, and there's a outdoor rink that's like right on overlooking the water and everything, and it was just a cool place to grow up. And I every single night, it was like do my homework and go out there and play hockey until 9 o'clock at night. But yeah, I don't think that there was ever. Sorry, I completely forgot the question. I was reminiscing there.
I love the reminiscing. No, if there was extra pressure, I know.
Oh, living in Canada?
Jerry's going to hate me for that, but the smoke alarm's going to go off if I don't do that. That'll be an outtake. We don't need the smoke alarm going off.
No, we don't.
Or the fire department being called. Yeah, no extra pressure?
I wouldn't say so. I think I just enjoyed playing hockey, and I was just kind of along for the ride, and whatever happened, happened. And like I said, it wasn't until I really got the league that I realized that, this could be a real possibility as a career. So, yeah, I wouldn't say I really necessarily felt a lot of pressure. No.
Was there a position that you grew out of that you really wanted to be? I mean, I can't imagine you being anything other than what you are.
Yeah.
Were you hoping to be something else?
Not really. I mean, I think I was always the biggest kid, and growing up, and that's usually the kid they put on defense. So it worked out in the end. The coaches knew what they were doing. But once in a while, I can see myself mixing it up and up front, maybe even goalie sometime.
Really?
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
You'd have to get a lot of leverage, I think. I mean, not very many pucks would get by you because you're really big.
Yeah.
But I would think that those squats, you'd have to really work on some leverage.
Oh,
right
yeah, it would
there.
definitely be stand-up goaltending. I wouldn't be going down very much. I'd be playing old school.
You just like stand there.
Pretty much, yeah. You ever seen the videos of the old
Well,
goalies back in the day?
Yes.
The kick saves, yeah. Classic.
That's what you're going to be known for, is kick saves in goal.
Maybe in beer league, yeah.
You in a beer league would be unfair. Do you
We'll
think
see. Maybe not if I'm in net.
it's the only way to even the playing field is if we
Yeah.
put you in net? Groovy said that you've got to be like one of the biggest guys he's ever played against or played on the same team up. Like, if you were a goaltender and you see somebody your size, he was like, that's the guy that I actually do not want to see anywhere close.
Yeah, I think still Gruby sometimes doesn't like to see me out there because I can kind of get in his way a little bit when he's trying to find the puck. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah.
Well, and that's, I would say, the year that I spent with you guys, that was kind of one of those things where trying to see what he's seeing or you're seeing and understanding spacing,
Oh,
it's just like,
I don't
and
know
also
how
you
well it's
can't
done.
turn around,
yeah,
right? Like you can't turn around to see where he is.
exactly. You just kind of have to have some spatial awareness, I guess, and be aware of the situation and where the puck's kind of moving to. But yeah, I'd have a lot of respect for just goalies in general, being able to have that anticipation where the puck's going and whatnot, reading the play. It's impressive.
What do you think? Because hockey, more than anything else, soccer, I guess, it is spatial awareness where you have some set plays, but really it's just kind of how things are flowing. Where else do you think that translates to?
In terms of hockey,
Yeah, either hockey or like even life, to be quite honest with you, because
okay.
you've got to make a whole bunch of decisions based on your teammate
yeah.
and in the moment stuff that I think translate to other things.
Oh,
but for
I mean-
me, it would be frustrating because sometimes I just want people to tell me what to do, right? Just like, I don't want to try to read your mind. Just
Sure.
tell me what it is that you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think as athletes, you have to pick up on things very quickly. It's obviously very competitive when you're competing with people for spots. So you want to be what they call coachable, which is just, pick up on cues, pick up on what the coach is telling you, and being able to make those adjustments on the fly. I think that's a big thing for hockey guys on the ice, and I think that's also useful in life. You have to kind of learn from your mistakes and learn from other people's mistakes and be able to adjust like that.
What's the mistake that you had to learn from maybe more than once?
I mean, we just talked about it, just being a bigger guy, and I think, I try and block a lot of shots. It's something that is kind of an asset to my game, but sometimes you can do too much in that respect where you are kind of getting the goalie's way, or it can go off you and, deflecting into your own net or whatever. So I think just being able to be aware of reading situations and when let the goalie take the shot or kind of angle a shot so it's going in a favorable position, like things like that, I think has been something I've learned a lot about, especially on the penalty kill. I mean,
Yeah.
It is like an important aspect of the penalty kill. You don't necessarily have to block every shot, but just give them the less favorable shot, I guess.
Oh, now that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
Because that also translates to a lot of other things,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like if you're just thinking, like, no, I don't have to do this perfectly. I just have to do this.
Exactly.
I just need to use my resource in this way
Sometimes less is
to
more,
make it.
right?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
There you go.
Okay, what are the rules for fighting?
For fighting.
Yep.
I mean, I guess the golden rule is you don't want to pick on guys smaller than yourself. Obviously.
Okay, time out. That leaves you with like 2 people in the league that you can fight with.
Yeah, but I mean, there are other circumstances, guys that are more experienced or bigger or, what have you. Besides that, I think it's pretty fair game for the most part. I think there is a general respect among fighters, guys on the ground, things like that. If the fight's kind of one-sided, going for a while, maybe you realize he's had enough. I mean, there's different aspects of it. It's kind of different for everybody. Certain guys are maybe a little less forgiving than others, Yeah.
Do you like the fact that while fighting is still allowed, it does not have the same emphasis as when, like, you were watching hockey growing up? Like they're
game's
trying to
definitely
take it
different.
out of the game a little bit. They're trying to make it less.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, heated debate, right? I don't think they're ever going to take the fighting out of the game because it is an important aspect of just policing it. I mean, the game's so fast, and you want to protect the star players. So I don't think it'll ever be out of the game necessarily. I think, yeah, like you said, I think the game is tending to move a little bit smaller, a little bit more fast and offensive. So maybe there aren't going to be those big physical guys as much, or you have to have different things you bring to the table. You can't be a liability out there that just kind of skates around looking for fights. I think you have to bring other things to the table. So I think it definitely shrinks the pool a little bit more.
Do you ever go to work though and think, I just want to hit somebody and today's the day I'm starting a fight? Or do you expend so much energy during the game that you'd really rather conserve the energy unless a fight is needed?
You definitely read the situation. You kind of know what guys are looking for it, what guys aren't. You go into games and you kind of realize that it could come up, whatnot. So there's a bunch of different things you have to be aware of. I think for the most part, I just try and focus on my game, and then if it happens, it happens. I think that's kind of the best way to do it, or else you kind of get in your head a little bit about it. Some guys might overthink it and not focus on the rest of the game. And like I said, I think it's at this point in my career, it's more just trying to play the game and just being ready if anything arises.
You're so diplomatic about this. I'm clearly looking for those unwritten rules and to know that somebody's just looking to start a fight. You're so diplomatic about this.
I wouldn't want to be the ice with you. It sounds like sounds like you're always just looking for it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the competitor takes over.
Absolutely,
Jamie.
yeah.
I compete at everything, so.
Totally. I mean, like I said, I think it's always going to be a part of the game. It's going to be a big part, and there's always going to be a place for it in some respect.
I can live with that. I can live with that. I Cook, You Measure is presented by Safeway, who encourages you to step up for our high school student athletes through the Nourishing Champions program. The collaboration with Champions of Change provides funding for nutritious snacks and meals for all high school sports teams in need. Use the QR code to donate to Nourishing Champions and fuel success on and off the field.